Hi guys, my name is Miss Burdette and I'm going to be reading Chapter 5 today. Chapter 5 is called The First Attempt. Derek concentrated hard. He was wearing a cream-colored apron over his blue plaid shirt and was sanding away at an exact replica of Pumpkin's leg. It was white and smooth. His work table was filled with tools. Some hung from hooks on the walls, an oven stood nearby for heating plastic molds. Vintage signs were displayed above him, and bright light filled the high ceilings of the warehouse. A fluffy white pup gave a bark. "Hey there, Henry," Derek said to his pet dog, but Derek didn't look up. Right now, he needed to focus. If you stepped into his workshop in Virginia, you might think Derek was building furniture or sculpting pottery. Nope, he was making special braces for animals. Derek had studied human orthotics and prosthetics, and that had been his first job after college. But that all changed when someone walked into his office with a dog. The dog was a black lab named Charles, and he wasn't walking well. His owner believed that a prosthetic leg could help the pup walk better. It was an unusual request for sure, but the owner was willing to pay just like any other customer. Derek searched online and found that no one was making braces for artificial limbs for pets. Maybe he should make them. Derek realized that artificial limbs and braces could save animals from expensive and painful surgeries, and he had figured out a way to make them with an inexpensive material, so most pet owners could afford them. When he attached Charles' new right leg to his body, the dog ran around with his tail wagging and a big smile on his face. His owner started crying. Ever since Charles' visit, Derek had found so much joy in helping animals. No project was too big for him. Literally. He'd never forget the time he traveled to Botswana in Africa to create a leg brace for an elephant named Jabu. It had been a challenge to make a brace for a 6-ton elephant, but Derek had managed to pull it off. Now he was making tiny braces for a dwarf horse, but the results would be just as big as they were for Jabu. Derek continued to hand sculpt Pumpkin's leg based on the casts he'd made. There was definitely no one-size-fits-all situation when it came to animal braces. Plenty of stores sold generic knee braces that most adult humans could wear, but there were just too many differences in the animal world. Short and wide legs, tall and skinny legs, fur or feather-covered legs, legs that galloped through savannas, and legs that perched high on tree limbs. The animal world was really incredible when you thought about it. "I can make things that fit really well, but I can't guarantee that they'll accept them," he had warned Ashley. "Humans are familiar with how crutches and wheelchairs and leg braces work, but animals aren't, and sometimes they don't want to learn how to use them." He could sculpt custom braces for Pumpkin, but it didn't mean that Pumpkin would like wearing them, or that she'd even be willing to try to walk with the braces. The braces would require her to step in a totally new way that she wasn't used to, and sometimes animals have trouble doing things in a whole new way. After all, there's no way to explain to them how the braces will help. But it was worth a try. Derek was always willing to make a brace or a prosthetic limb, especially for a horse. In the past, a broken leg was a death sentence for a horse. It was almost impossible to keep a horse off a broken leg because they stand all the time, and their leg bones were too fragile to ever heal properly with all that weight on them. So owners would have to euthanize the horse, which means kill or put it down, because it was too painful for the horse to go on living. Today there are more ways to help a horse than there were in the past, but horses need to stand to eat, to drink, and even to sleep, so it's very hard to keep them off their feet in order to heal. The work Derek was doing could literally save a horse's life. Derek continued to grind, sand, and heat Pumpkin's brace into the perfect shape. He held up the finished product, twisting and turning it and analyzing every angle. It looked good. He scratched his beard. Only 3 more to go. "She'll be right back," Ashley promised Thea. They were heading just outside the barn. Not far away, she picked up Pumpkin, one arm under her neck and another under her bottom. Pumpkin was getting bigger and heavier, which made her harder to carry. She walked quickly out of the pen before Thea could get too upset. The film crew from the Dodo was back, capturing every moment as Ashley carried Pumpkin. They didn't want to miss anything that was about to happen. It was a sunny day during the usually dreary February, which seemed like a good sign. Bright, wide, happy clouds streaked the sky. Ashley wore a light camouflage jacket that matched the brown grass and empty branches of winter, and topped it with a maroon knit hat. But Pumpkin was so furry that she kept Ashley warmer than any hat or jacket could. "It might be the last time I have to carry you." The little fowl wiggled in Ashley's arms as if she understood, and was excited to walk by herself. Ashley set Pumpkin down in front of Derek, a little out of breath. "Here she is." Derek patted the pony's mane, then removed the freshly made braces from his black duffel bag. The film crew surrounded Ashley, Derek, and the little fowl. "Hopefully Pumpkin takes to them," he said as he handed one to her. "Wow," Ashley said, turning it in her hands to take a closer look. The brace was white with swirls of marbled orange and yellow, plus a tan-colored hoof on the bottom. 3 strips of black hook and loop fasteners would secure the brace to Pumpkin's leg. They looked amazing. Thanks to the flashes of orange, they matched Derek's sneakers. Maybe those braces could become Pumpkin's running shoes. There was a lot of excitement in the air. This was the moment the crew couldn't wait to get on film. Pumpkin's first steps with her new braces. Ashley sat on the ground and gently pulled Pumpkin into her lap. She held her lovingly as Derek began strapping the first brace around her leg. A horse whinnied very loudly, shrill-like, in the background. That would be Pumpkin's mom, wondering where Pumpkin is. Ashley looked toward the barn. She knew that Thea didn't like it when Ashley took Pumpkin out of her sight, but she felt that Thea understood that Ashley wouldn't separate them unless it was to help the pony. She hoped Thea would trust her one more time. Derek tried to stay focused. "I never know what they're going to do," he said as he tightened the last brace. Would Pumpkin walk, run, or freeze in place? He flexed Pumpkin's leg straight, then bent it, then flexed it again. "This is my first time fitting a dwarf pony with 4 leg braces, so no one knows what's going to happen." Pumpkin lifted her head to see what was going on. A brace was carefully secured on each of her short legs. Derek thought the fit looked good. He hoped the braces were comfortable and would help the pony feel strong enough to run. Ashley looked down at the furry fowl in her arms. She scratched the fowl's fuzzy light brown tummy. She was so small, but something about her was fierce. She hoped Pumpkin had it in her to walk now that the braces could help. The cameras closed in on her. "I'm a little bit nervous. If these braces don't work, then we have to make another decision," Ashley said. What would the decision be? The veterinarian had mentioned surgery before. She really didn't want Pumpkin to have to go through with that. It would be a long and painful recovery. Plus, just like the braces, no one was sure if it would work or not. "Moment of truth," Derek said. "Let's get you up." He helped Ashley lift the determined fowl, who was already wriggling in Ashley's arms. 1 step. Pumpkin flicked her hoof awkwardly in the air. 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps. She stumbled to the side a bit. Ashley held her hands out to catch the little fowl. Pumpkin regained her balance. Now she picked up her back legs awkwardly high, which made her walk in a circle. She was stepping slowly, but she seemed determined. "Well, this feels different," Pumpkin thought. The same man who had put socks on her before put shoes on her now, and they felt a little weird. When the nice lady set her down, she knew she was supposed to walk. Since the first day she arrived at the sanctuary, people had been touching her legs. Pumpkin knew they were trying to help, and she wanted to make them proud. She flicked her hoof with each step. Overall, it was a little bit better, but she was having a hard time finding her balance. The shoes were making it easier to step with some legs, but harder to step with others. These shoes were supposed to make walking easier, right? She tried to walk a little bit faster. Nope, she couldn't run in these shoes. Not happening. She looked up at the nice man and lady. She hoped they weren't disappointed. "Come on," Derek said, cheering Pumpkin on. He was studying Pumpkin's hooves with each step she took. Ashley folded her arms, partly to keep warm and partly because she was getting nervous. She could hear Thea neighing in the background. She must be getting impatient. The camera crew was planning on getting their big shot of Pumpkin walking today. But Pumpkin was still not walking correctly. The front braces seemed to be working well, but the rear ones were not. Her back legs were still bending just above her hooves. "She's close," Derek said as he tried to straighten out Pumpkin's back hooves, but the braces just